I never thought I'd be the one typing this out, but here I am, fingers shaking on my phone at 2 a.m. because if I don't get it all down somewhere, I swear I'll just explode from holding it in. It's like this poison that's been eating me alive for years, and tonight it finally boiled over. I'm 38 now, married for 12 years to a man I thought was my rock, and my mom. God, my mom, she's been the one constant in my life since Dad died when I was 10. Or at least that's what I kept telling myself over and over like a mantra to keep the doubts away. But it's all lies. Every single bit of it. They both lied to me, used me, broke me down until I didn't even recognize myself in the mirror. No. Now I'm done being the victim. I'm going to tell you everything from the beginning because maybe writing it will make it real. Make me believe it's not just some nightmare I can't wake from. Started slow, you know? The way these things always do in those stories you read online, but when it's your life you don't see it creeping in. I met Greg in college sophomore year. He was this tall guy with messy brown hair and a smile that lit up rooms, always cracking jokes in psych class about Freud being a creep. I was the quiet one, buried in books, still reeling from losing Dad to that car accident. Mom had spiraled after, popping pills and crying at night, so I'd become the fixer, the one who made sure dinner was on the table and bills got paid. Greg saw that in me, or so he said. You're like this hidden gem, he'd whisper, pulling me close in the library stacks, his breath warm on my neck. We dated for 2 years, graduated, got engaged. Mom loved him right away. He's steady, honey, she'd say, hugging him too tight, her perfume, that cloying lavender stuff, clinging to his shirt. Finally, someone who won't leave you hanging like your father did. We married young at 26 in this little backyard thing at Mom's house. I wore a simple white dress, nothing fancy because money was tight. I'd taken out loans for school and Greg was just starting his sales job. But we made it work. Bought a fixer-upper in the suburbs, 2 bedrooms, creaky floors. I got into graphic design freelance, he climbed the ladder at his company. Life felt normal. Good even. We talk about kids someday, maybe a dog first to practice. Mom lived an hour away in the old family home Dad left us, but she'd drive over every weekend, bringing casseroles and stories about her bridge club. You two are my world, she'd say, eyes misty, squeezing my hand until it hurt a little. The first crack came about 3 years in when I started getting these headaches. Not the normal kind, these were like sledgehammers inside my skull, pounding so hard I'd vomit in the bathroom sink, the metallic tang of bile mixing with toothpaste. I'd curl up on the cool tile, sweat soaking my shirt, whispering to myself to breathe, just breathe. Greg would find me there, kneel down, rub my back. Babe, you need to see a doctor, he'd urge, his voice all concern, but there was this edge to it sometimes, like he was annoyed I kept falling apart. Mom would call the next day. Oh, sweetie, stress from work? Let me come over, make you tea. She'd brew chamomile, strong and bitter, and sit with me on the couch, stroking my hair like I was 5 again. You're too sensitive, always have been. Remember when you were little and cried over that skinned knee for hours? Same thing. I went to the doctor, of course. Blood tests, scans. Nothing. Migraines, probably hormonal. The doc said prescribing pills that made me foggy like wading through cotton. But the headaches kept coming worse each time. I'd black out spots in my vision, see halos around lights, and once driving home from a client meeting, I nearly rear-ended a semi, my hands slick on the wheel, heart hammering like it wanted out of my chest. Greg started handling more around the house. Bills, calls to Mom, even my freelance emails when I was too wiped to sit up. I've got you, he'd say, kissing my forehead. But his grip lingered a second too long, fingers pressing into my skin like he was marking territory. Then the forgetfulness hit. Little things at first. Misplacing keys, showing up to meetings on the wrong day. I'd stare at my calendar, that pink planner I'd loved since high school, and swear the dates had shifted when I wasn't looking. You're just tired, Greg would soothe, but his eyes would flick to Mom when she was over, like they were sharing a secret joke. Mom started staying longer, whole weeks sometimes, claiming she was helping. She'd reorganize my kitchen, move my art supplies to the garage, so you don't trip, and slip these little white pills into my tea. For the nerves, honey. Doctor recommended. Wait, what doctor? I'd ask, but my mouth felt numb, words slurring, and she'd just shush me, her nails, always those long red ones, digging into my arm. Hush now, let Mama take care of it. The paranoia crept in next. I'd wake up at night, convinced someone was in the house, shadows twisting in the hallway like fingers reaching for me. One time I found a strange key under the couch. Small brass, not ours. I showed Greg in the morning, holding it out like evidence. What is this? Did we have a locksmith? He laughed, that deep chuckle that used to make me melt, but now it grated. Babe, it's probably from that old lockbox in the attic. You're imagining things again. But when I checked the attic later, dust thick in my throat, coughing as I rummaged, no lockbox. Just cobwebs clinging to my hair like ghosts. Mom was there more by then, her car a permanent fixture in the driveway. She'd whisper to Greg in the kitchen while I napped, their voices low and urgent, words like dosage and trust fund floating through the walls. I'd strain to hear, heart thudding, but when I'd stumble in bleary-eyed, they'd pull apart, faces innocent. Just talking about your birthday surprise. Mom would beam, but her smile didn't reach her eyes, those pale blue ones like Dad's, cold now. Greg would nod, pouring me more tea. Drink up, it'll settle you. The money thing. That was the gut punch. I'd always handled our savings, a joint account we'd built slow. My freelance checks, his bonuses. About $150K by year 8, nothing huge but our safety net. For the house, for kids maybe. One day, logging in from my laptop, the balance glared back. 23K. Gone. Just evaporated. I sat there staring at the screen until my eyes burned, the cursor blinking like a taunt. Greg. I yelled, voice cracking. He came running from the garage, oil on his hands from tinkering with his truck. What? You okay? I shoved the laptop at him, tears hot on my cheeks. Our money. It's gone. Did you? He scanned it, face paling, then crumpling. Oh God, babe, I invested it. That crypto tip from work. It tanked. I'm so sorry. He dropped to his knees, hugging my legs, sobbing into my jeans. I'll fix it, I swear. We'll rebuild. But something felt off, the way it always did now. The headache surged back that night so bad I bit through my lip, blood coppery on my tongue staining the pillow. Mom arrived at dawn, unannounced, with donuts and that tea. He told me, sweetie. Poor Greg carrying that guilt. But accidents happen. You're both young. She sat me down, fed me the donut, stale, crumbly, while Greg hovered, eyes red-rimmed. We didn't fight about it, not really. He promised to work overtime. I took more gigs despite the fog in my brain. But the account? It stayed low. And I'd catch them late at night on the couch with my laptop, heads bent close, typing furiously. Just checking stocks, Greg would mutter if I stirred. Mom would pat the cushion beside her. Join us, honey. Family sticks together. The gaslighting ramped up after that. I'd find notes in my handwriting, call plumber Tuesday, but I hadn't written them. Photos on my phone of me at bars I'd never been to, time-stamped nights I was homesick. You don't remember? Greg would say, hurt in his voice, holding up the screen. Last month you said you needed a girls' night. I drove you. But the dress in the pic wasn't mine, too tight, red like Mom's. She'd chime in, you were glowing, sweetie. Dancing like in your 20s. We were so proud. Proud? I'd argue, voice rising, but they'd exchange looks, that pitying one like I was unraveling. Maybe the meds aren't working, Mom would suggest softly. We should see Dr. Ellis again. Dr. Ellis. That's when the real hell started. He was this old guy Mom knew from her church group, a psychiatrist with a mustache like a broom and an office smelling of stale cigars. First visit, Greg drove me, Mom in the passenger seat chatting about weather. Tell him everything, she urged as we pulled up. Inside, Ellis listened to my symptoms, headaches, memory slips, paranoia, nodding slow. Sounds like dissociative episodes, perhaps early onset something. We'll start with evaluations. Evaluations turned to sessions twice a week where I'd spill my guts, the room spinning under fluorescent buzz, his pen scratching like claws. Do you trust your husband? He'd ask, eyes sharp behind glasses. Of course, I'd say, but doubt wormed in. Pills multiplied. Little blues for anxiety, whites for sleep, yellows for mood. They made my limbs heavy like lead weights and dreams twisted, Greg's face morphing to Mom's, both laughing as I drowned in tea-stained water. I'd wake screaming, sheets soaked, only to find them in the doorway, arms crossed. Nightmares again? Greg would sigh, climbing into bed, his body stiff against mine. Intimacy dried up. He'd roll away, muttering about exhaustion. Mom suggested couples therapy, but it was just more Ellis, probing. Your wife's unstable, he'd tell Greg privately. I overheard once, pressed to the wall, breath shallow. She needs structure. Perhaps a facility for observation. Facility. The word lodged in my throat like glass. That night, over dinner. Overcooked chicken, peas mushy. Mom brought it up casual. Just short-term, honey. To get you balanced. Greg and I can visit every day. Greg nodded, fork scraping plate. It's for the best. We love you too much to watch you suffer. Suffer? I slammed my hand down, water glass tipping, cold splash on my lap. I'm not crazy. You're doing this. The notes, the photos, the money. They froze, then Mom reached across, her hand clammy on mine. Oh, sweetie. That's the paranoia talking. Dr. Ellis warned us. Tears welled in her eyes, crocodile ones I see now, and Greg pulled her into a hug right there at the table, his chin on her shoulder, whispering, It's okay, Helen. We'll get her help. I ran then out the back door into the yard, grass wet underfoot, crickets screaming in the dark. Chest heaved, sobs ripping out, snot and tears mixing on my face. How had I not seen it? The touches. Mom's hand lingering on Greg's arm, his laugh too warm at her jokes. The way they'd whisper when they thought I slept. That key under the couch? I dug it out later, hid it in my sock drawer. It fit the lock on Mom's old jewelry box, the one Dad gave her, full of his watches and her rings. Worth thousands, sold off quiet over years, I bet. The commitment push came fast after that. Ellis upped the meds, said I was a danger, based on an episode where I apparently smashed a vase. Shards I don't remember, cuts on my palms I woke to, stinging under bandages. Greg called the police one night when I locked myself in the bathroom, pounding on the door. Let me out. You're lying. They came, 2 cops with flashlights, Mom fluttering behind like a moth. She's off her meds, Greg explained, voice breaking. They didn't arrest me, but the report, possible mental health crisis, went to Ellis. Next session he handed Greg papers. Voluntary admission to Willowbrook, this state-run psych ward 2 hours away. For her safety, Ellis said. I signed, hands trembling, ink smudging, because what choice? Refuse and they'd force it. Willowbrook was hell wrapped in white walls. The air stank of bleach and despair, echoes of moans down halls at night. They stripped me on intake, cold hands yanking clothes, paper gowns scratching skin. Then meds via syringe, fire in my veins, world blurring to smears. Days bled. Group therapy where hollow-eyed women muttered about exes, electroshock threats if I resisted, meals of gray slop that stuck in my throat. Greg visited Sundays, flowers wilting in his fist, sitting across the plexiglass. I miss you, babe. Mom sends her love. Love. I'd press my palm to the glass, whispering, Come get me, please. He'd nod, eyes down. Soon. Getting the house ready. Mom came once, alone, her face gaunt in the fluorescent glare. This is rock bottom, honey, she said, voice syrupy. But we'll pull you through. Greg's been a saint, working doubles, handling everything. Everything. Like my business. My email pinged in my head. Clients dropping me, unreliable. My savings? Whatever was left, funneled God knows where. I begged her, Mom, what's happening? The money, the pills. She leaned close, breath fogging the glass, eyes hard. You're imagining again. Focus on healing. Healing. As she left, her heels clicked away and I slid down the wall, nails gouging arms, red welts rising like accusations. 2 months in, escape plots filled my journals. Stolen from art therapy, pages crammed with scribbles. I'd flush pills, hide them in mattress seams, clarity sharpening slow. One night, during lights out, I cornered a nurse, young, kind-eyed, and slipped her my phone number scrawled on toilet paper. Call this friend. Tell her I'm here. My old college roommate, Lisa, the one who'd moved cross-country but swore we'd stay close. She called the ward pretending family, got transferred to me in secret. What the actual hell? She gasped when I picked up, voice thin through the line. Greg said you were on a wellness retreat. Voluntary. Voluntary. Lies stacked like bricks. Lisa flew in, stormed the place with a lawyer buddy, pro bono, God bless her. Discharge papers signed in a blur, me in scrubs. Luggage a trash bag of clothes smelling of bleach. Back home the house felt alien. My studio cleared out, walls repainted beige, photos gone. Me and Greg at the altar, Dad holding me as a kid. Renovations, Greg explained, hugging me stiff. Mom hovered in the kitchen, apron on, stirring soup. Welcome back, sweetie. Clean slate. Clean slate, my foot. That night, alone in our bed, Greg on the couch giving space. I rifled drawers. Found the key again, plus a flash drive taped under his side table. Plugged it into my laptop in the dark, glow casting shadows. Files. Bank statements, transfers. Our $150K to an account in Mom's name, then to Greg's offshore. Emails between them timestamped years back. She's suspicious, from Greg year 5. Mom's reply, double the valerian in her tea. Ellis will back us. Valerian? The migraines were drugged sleep, memory wipes. Photos too, not faked but staged. Me drunk at bars, Greg's arm around a woman who wasn't me, but wait. The dress was Mom's and the timestamp? Nights she babysat while he worked late. Worse, love notes. Can't wait for her to sign over the trust, Greg wrote. Trust? Dad's will. I'd forgotten, buried under grief. Left me a life insurance payout, invested, grown to $300K by now, controlled by Mom as trustee until I was stable. Stable. They'd been bleeding it, claiming my instability, kept control with her. And the kicker? Hotel receipts, Vegas, tropical getaways. Booked for 2 but signatures blurry. I cross-checked dates with my blackouts. Everyone. Rage hit like those headaches, but pure now, no fog. I didn't confront. Not yet. Dad, I played along. Smiled at breakfast, thanked Mom for muffins, dry, crumbling. Kissed Greg goodnight, body rigid. Secretly I called Lisa daily, met her lawyer in coffee shops, voice low over lattes. Gaslighting, financial elder. Wait, you're not elder. Abuse, attempted commitment, fraud. We got 'em. Evidence piled. Copied files to cloud, recorded calls. Mom admitting the supplements over speaker, casual. Just to calm you, honey. You were so jumpy after your father. The plan formed slow, meticulous like one of my designs. Layers, reveals. First I quit the pills, cold turkey, nights sweating, shakes racking bones, but clarity diamond sharp. Faked compliance. Dr. Ellis says I'm better. To their faces while emailing him anonymous packets of their scheme, his complicity in over-medicating. He called Greg, panicked. Audit incoming. Back off. Watched from blinds as Greg paced the yard, phone to ear, Mom trailing like a shadow. Escalation. I relapsed on purpose. Staged a scene, screaming at shadows, vase shattering, real this time, porcelain biting skin, blood warm trickling. Cops again, but I whispered to the female officer. Check my phone. Text from my husband. Proof I'm not crazy. She'd pocketed it, sly, nodded. Report filed. Domestic disturbance with my evidence attached. Greg's face when they questioned him at work. Pale, sweating under fluorescence, stammering about misunderstanding. Mom cracked first. Showed up hammered one night. Rare for her, the pill popper turned teetotaler, reeking of gin, eyes wild. You little bitch, she slurred, lunging across the table, nails raking my cheek, fire lines blooming red. Greg pulled her off, but not before she spat. We deserved that money. Your father left us nothing but debts and you, me, the burden. I pressed charges. Assault, simple but sticky. Cops hauled her away in cuffs, her screams echoing. She's lying. My daughter. Greg bolted next morning. Suitcase thump in hall, door slam. Text, need space. This is too much. Space. To his brothers I traced via pinged phone. Lisa's tech guy, bless. But I was steps ahead. Froze joint accounts, lawyer's injunction, drained what was left to a new solo one. Stop. Anonymous tip to H. Embezzlement docs from the drive, forged signatures on investments. Fired by noon, security escorting him out, box of desk junk under arm. The divorce filing hit like a bomb. I served him at his brother's door, process server grinning. Sign here, buddy. Mom's arraignment same day. Bail denied, flight risk with offshore ties. Courtroom reeked of sweat and old wood. She glared from orange jumpsuit, hair greasy, no makeup mask. You'll rot for this, she hissed as guards led her. Rot. I smiled, first real one in years, tasting blood from bitten lip. Updates came fast after. But that was just the start. The real unraveling? It was poetry. New. First update 2 weeks later. Okay, so it's been 2 weeks since I posted that novel-length mess and I appreciate the messages. Seriously, you guys saying, get out, document everything, saved me from second-guessing myself 100 times. I almost deleted the whole post last night, staring at the screen with this pit in my stomach like maybe I was the crazy one after all. But no. Nope. I printed it out, stapled it in my evidence binder right next to the court summons. His things. They're escalating and not in their favor. God, it feels good to say that. Greg's holed up at his brother's, but I got the police report from that staged relapse night. The officer I whispered to? She dug, found the inconsistencies, my drunk photos time-stamped wrong, metadata showing edits from Greg's IP. They pulled his phone records, calls to Ellis the day after each blackout, plus texts to mom like, dosage worked, she's out cold tonight. Meet at the usual. Their motel turns out, seedy place off the highway, neon sign flickering V can't see. I drove by once just to see, heart pounding as I idled in the lot, gravel crunching under tires. Room 7, curtains drawn, but I swear I saw silhouettes, her red nails on his shirt. Lawyer Lisa hooked me with, call her Shark because she's all teeth, says we got grounds for fraud, conspiracy, even attempted involuntary commitment as a felony in our state. They're looking at 10 to 20 if we push. She grinned over Zoom, her cat batting at papers. Push? Hell yes. I deposed Ellis first, swore on a Bible that shook in his sweaty palms, mustache twitching as he admitted, over-prescribing at family's request. Family. Mom's request, emails proved. He's suspended now, license hanging by a thread, calling Greg hysterical. Voicemails I subpoenaed, voice cracking, they'll blame me. Fix this. Mom's in county jail pre-trial. Bail hearing was yesterday. Me in the gallery, black dress like armor, watching her shuffle in chains, ankles raw from rubbing. Her lawyer, some public defender kid, pled hardship. Client's elderly, caregiver to daughter. Caregiver. I stood when called, voice steady for the first time in forever. Your Honor, she's the one who drugged me, stole from me, tried to lock me away for the insurance. Gasps from the bench, her face crumpling. Real tears this time, mascara rivers. Denied. She's rotting there, 3 to a cell with real criminals, her bridge club whispers turning to, did you hear about Helen? Monster. Greg tried crawling back last night. Showed up at 11 p.m., rain-soaked, eyes puffy. Banged on the door till neighbors peeked. I opened a crack, chain on, his hand shooting through. Babe, please. It was her idea. The money, the pills. I love you. Love. I laughed, this hollow sound, and shoved a manila envelope through. Divorce papers, asset division, me getting the house, him zilch, plus a restraining order printout. UF asterisk. You screwed my mother while I choked on your poison. He recoiled, rain dripping, but I saw it. The fear, the crack. I'll fight this, he snarled, but his voice wobbled. Fight with what? Unemployed, credit trashed from my freezes, brother kicking him out after I shared the story, family chat screenshots, polite but damning. Slept like a baby after, no shakes, no dreams. First time in years. But the best? Anonymous post to his sales group's LinkedIn. Colleague steals from spouse, gaslights for a fair cash. Ask Greg about Willowbrook. Views exploding, comments like knives. He's ghost now, phone off. Good. More to come, I think. Court dates stacking. Feels like I'm finally breathing. New. Second update 1 month later. Wow, a month already. Time warps when you're knee-deep in depositions and therapy. Real therapy this time with a doc who doesn't take family bribes. Thanks for the book, Rex, BTW. That one about narcissistic parents hit like a truck. All the you owe me for birthing you vibes mirroring mom's jail letters. She's writing now, pages smudged with what I hope is just cheap ink, begging. Forgive me, I was grieving your father, he left us broken. Broken. Lady, you broke me worse. Confrontation gold. Family meeting in the jail visitation room, plexiglass again but roles flipped. She picked up the phone, voice tinny. You came. Knew you would, blood's thicker. Thicker. I leaned in close as could. Blood? You sold mine for Dad's payout. Slept with my husband to seal it. Remember Vegas, room 1204? The negligee I lost? Found the receipt in his wallet. Her eyes, those cold blues, widened, hand slipping the receiver. Lies. He seduced me after you went mad. Mad. I laughed low. That enough to record this? Or the one where you admit dosing my tea? Clicked play on phone, her voice kitchen mic. Just a pinch, Greg. She'll sleep through our date. Date. She smashed the phone down, screaming at guards. Turn it off. Which? Guards dragged her, flailing, nails snapping as she clawed air. Visitation over. But the recording? Filed viral in court circles. Sold the house, too haunted, walls whispering their laughs. Bought a condo downtown, views of the river, art supplies unpacked. Freelance booming. Clients love the edge in my designs now, raw lines like scars. Dated once, coffee with a gallery guy, but nah. Trust's a bruise, slow fade. Isolation's fine. Power? That's the thrill. Watching them fracture from afar, pieces scattering. Third act coming. Plea hearing next week. Stay tuned. New, third update 3 months later. 3 months. Feels like lifetimes stacked, each one lighter than the last. Deleted my old socials. Too many ghosts tagging mom. How's Helen? Like she was the victim. But you all kept me going. That one comment about vengeance is therapy? Spot on. No therapy needed when you see karma's teeth. Mom pled out yesterday. No trial fireworks, just a quiet courtroom, wood benches hard under me, air thick with coughs and whispers. Shark leaned in pre-hearing, 10 years minimum. Fraud, assault, conspiracy, stacked. Mom shuffled in, chains rattling like maracas, hair white-streaked, skin sallow under lights. No makeup, no armor. Her new lawyer, sweaty kid. Mumbled terms. Restitution, the full $450K traced to Cayman shells we cracked with a forensic accountant, plus community service if paroled early. But the kicker. Loss of trustee status, dad's estate liquidated to me. Irony's chef kiss. Judge, this stern woman with glasses like shields, read the charges slow, each one a nail. Attempted unlawful confinement, financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. Vulnerable. Me. Mom broke when they wheeled in the evidence cart. Laptop with emails, pill bottles labeled for H, sleep aid, my blood vials glinting. It's not true, she wailed, lunging at the bar, guards pinning her arms, her face twisting, ugly veins bulging neck. She was always weak. Your father died because of her crying, distracting him on the phone. Distracting. Lie piled on lie, but the gallery gasped. Cousins there, faces pale, one aunt vomiting in the aisle, retch echoing. Greg was there too, in back row, suit rumpled, unshaven, subpoenaed as witness, but he slunk low, eyes darting. Mom saw him, screeched, "Tell them. You loved me, not her. We planned it together." Together. Courtroom erupted, judge banging gavel, order. Lawyers shouting objections. But damage done. Her plea, guilty all counts. Sentence, 15 years, no parole, first 10. As they led her out, she twisted, mouth foaming. "I'll get you, you ungrateful." Door slammed, silence heavy. Greg's testimony? Goldmine crumble. Swore under oath. It was Helen's idea, all of it. Strayed, but the money? Her. Strayed. To her bed, her schemes. But cross-exam? Shark shredded him. Emails from year 3, Mr. Harlan. Can't wait to control the trust with you. Your signature. He stammered, sweat beading forehead. Pursed, she threatened. Threatened? Mom from her cell feed, remote link for the frail. Cackled. Liar. You begged for it. Chaos again, judge excusing jury. Wait, no jury plea deal, but the record's tainted now. His charges pending, aiding fraud, perjury. Bail set at $100K he doesn't have. Brother bailed, literally, family cut ties after the strayed bomb hit group chats. Post-hearing, I walked out into sun. First real warmth in ages, birds chirping stupid cheerful. Shark hugged me, you did it. They're done. Done. I drove to the old house, sold, but I had keys till closing. Stood in the kitchen, tea stains ghosted on counter. Smashed the kettle, shards flying, then left it for the new owners. Symbolic whatever. Life now. Thriving solo. Condos mine, walls splashed with my paintings. Dark swirls, reds like blood, blues cold as her eyes. Business tripled. One client, big ad firm, wants a series on resilience through ruin. Huh. Dated? Nah, but flirts at openings, light touches, no pressure. Powers quiet. Checking inmate locators weekly, mom's appeals denied. Greg's arraignment next month facing 5 to 8. He's selling plasma for lawyer fees. Rumor from a friend who pities but spills. No forgiveness, no cards on holidays. Just this grim glow inside like embers after fire. They broke me to build their throne. I burned it down, danced in ashes. Isolation's my kingdom. Who's got popcorn for the finale? New, final update 6 months later. Half a year since the plea and it's over. Really over. Deleted the original post last night. 2 raw words like open wounds, but copied it to a journal leather-bound sits on my shelf like a trophy. You all were my chorus, the yes burn it down echoes. Some reached out IRL, coffee meets where I spilled less but felt seen. Therapy helped unpack the dad grief. Turns out she twisted that too, blaming me young so I'd cling. No more clinging. Greg's sentencing was quiet, almost sad. Courtroom half empty, him in ill-fit suit, hands cuffed front for cooperation. Pleaded to lesser. Fraud accomplice, 3 years state pen restitution same as mom's. Judge, same one, memory like steel, didn't mince. You preyed on your wife's trust, sir. Shame on you. Shame. He cried then, snot bubbling, mumbling sorry to the bench, but his eyes flicked to me in the front row. Pleading, broken man. I met them cold, no flinch. Shark whispered post, he'll appeal but it's toast. No assets, no allies. Allies. His family disowned full. Sister's email to me. We had no idea. Horrified. Horrified. Too late. Inside he's crumbling fast. Inmate mail I requested. Curiosity's catnip. Letters to his brother, intercepted copies. Food's maggoty fights every night. Miss the house, even her. Her. Me or mom. Both ghosts now. Mom's appeal? Shot down last week, higher court calling it meritless. She's in max security transfer. Fights in county. Shanked a celly over stolen commissary. Wound shallow but isolation cell now, 23-hour lockdown, lights buzzing eternal. Her latest letter forwarded by lawyer. Dying here. Come see me. Please. Dying. Let her. Me. Empire building. Ad firm series launched. Billboards of fractured faces mending jagged, tagline shatter to shine. Cheesy but checks clear 6 figures. Bought a studio loft, exposed brick, Riverview expanded. Paint daily, canvases screaming what words couldn't, blues bleeding red, figures twisted in shadow. Always a lone woman standing tall amid ruins. No dates, no rush. Power's solitude, coffee black and hot, mornings scrolling news of their falls, obscure articles, local man jailed in family scam. Thriving's this, scars faded to silver, laugh lines earning their keep. They wanted me locked, forgotten, I locked them instead. Grim satisfaction? It's feast. No hope for them, no glance back. Just forward, palette knife sharp, cutting my own path. Thanks for listening. Signing off. Ashes scattered.